Thanks for coming in. And is everyone hearing me through the mic? Good. Okay, great. Okay, so thanks again for coming in. And so just to kind of kick off today, one of the kind of themes we saw coming out today is that yesterday we focused a lot on educational technology and how to use data. And one kind of key idea here is really bringing collaboration between students, and also what kinds of interventions or systems can we build to actually support learning. So Carolyn's keynote is actually be on technology support for effective team-based learning online education. And then we're lucky to have some visitors from our colleagues from NIE. So Elizabeth Cole will talk about leveraging learning analytics to formatively assess teamwork. Then Bibas Chakraborty is going to talk about dynamically personalized interventions. And so he's coming from the medical school, but Bibas has pointed out there are many analogies between the statistics and methods used in health and what can actually be applied in education. Jennifer Taz will talk about learning analytics visualizations to foster collaborative reading skills and deepen learning engagement in English language. So what are students' benefits, perceived benefits, and problems? Muthu, right here from CS department, is going to talk about using discourse signals for robust instructor intervention prediction. Then we have our second keynote by Shang Hu on conversational tutors and the experience API. So it'll be a combination of talking about tutors that you can build one-on-one that will help people in conversation, as well as some really interesting standards that have been developed by US Army and other people for storing learning data. We'll have lunch right outside, and then we'll have Wendy Chen talk about automated assessment of argumentation in science classrooms. And at the end of the day, we're going to have a panel discussion and closing remarks. And the kind of key idea, just to get everyone ready, because at the end of the day, they'll be tired, is to really think, what can we take away from these last 2 days? How can we use some of the research that's been here for projects here at NUS in different courses? What are changes we need to make to our data infrastructure? And especially, what questions do you have for the keynote speakers, for other participants? And you can actually go to this Google Doc, linked here from the page, to add in questions. So a few questions that came up yesterday we want to be sure to address are, how can we think about the different ways we should actually measure learning outcomes? How should we be assessing whether our teaching is good, whether interventions are good? We've got grades. We've got assessments people currently build, but what are other approaches we can take? Or even if you know of literature or ideas that can be brought to bear on that. And the closing discussion, just to let you know, it doesn't have to be as formal. You have to cite 5 things for every statement you make. We're really trying to just get people involved in the conversation and bring opinions in. Another question that we wanted to throw out to our keynote speakers was, what's 1 project, what's 2 projects that you might think would be interesting? How can what's happening here at NUS actually advance your research? How can it help your graduates or postdocs do something that would be hard to do otherwise, given the kind of scale we have? I think other questions that came up would be, what's the relationship between our work in higher ed and work in K-12? Like, what's a big focus and expertise of NIE? And I'm sure all of you can come up with other ideas as well. Any questions or comments anyone has? Any suggestions or questions they want people to start thinking about now, so we might try and address in the closing remarks?
I think one of the key issues is we have people from both SOC and NIE and other institutions here. It'd be nice to hear from all the other external parties about how at NUS and the school community might be able to collaborate with you, especially since our invited speakers are here. They're experts in the area. We can pull them in to collaborate externally. So what's a good working format for your institution, and how can we marry that with the policies within NUS?
Okay. And just a restatement question from the microphone, especially people from other institutions, how can you be working with NUS, and what's the best way to organize bringing these collaborations together? Okay, well then maybe I will start off on Carolyn's introduction. So I've actually known Carolyn for a long time now. I guess it's actually, if I think about it, it might even be 4 or 5 years. And the first grant I ever submitted was fortunately with Carolyn. But because I had to go and read her webpage actually for this, I learned a bunch of new things I had no idea about. So Carolyn's webpage is actually highly resourced. So if you want to find out a lot about language technology, learning science, you can go there. She has links to many things, such as lab resources on discourse analysis that really make it easy for anyone to build, to sort of use NLP techniques to analyze text. They've got this really interesting group that Dragon and others have talked about, which was dance. So the kind of key idea for dance is that it's thinking about how do you bring social interaction for learning into settings like edX platform. But now I think they've got these abilities to plug into any kind of learning management system where You can actually help learners have collaborative discussions. You can think about how to take interventions where you get them to ask discussion forums. And so kind of give a bit of a summary. So Carolyn is a full professor at Carnegie Mellon, half in Language Technologies Institute and half in the Human Interaction Institute. And I'll let her say more about her research exactly, but she focuses on the intersection of things like discourse analysis, how do you understand the conversations people have, and how do you formalize these into models that can actually capture what's happening, and then use that to build systems that are actually going to help people, such as collaborative chat. Carolyn's played a really key role in bringing together different disciplines. So she's been the president of the International Society for Learning Sciences. So for people sort of outside the area, this is one of the kind of main education foci, this group. And they've got a conference every year, which alternates with CSCL, Computer Supported Collaborative Learning. And one thing Carolyn's been especially important in is, if you're new to this area, there's a plethora of education conferences. So just to kind of quickly spin them out in front of you, user modeling and personalization has been around for many years. Then there's educational data mining, which has been around for 9 years. Then there's artificial intelligence education. That seems like a lot already, but on top of that, you've actually got learning analytics knowledge, which Drag has been a key role player in, which focuses more on the analytics side. And then you've got a new conference called ACM Learning at Scale. It's not always clear how these things fit together and how you can foster collaboration, but one thing Carolyn's done is really invest a lot of her time in thinking, how do you bring together these different organizations? And because of that, next year in London, there's actually going to be co-location of at least 3 of these conferences. So in terms of understanding Carolyn's work, she's published over 200 papers in peer-reviewed outlets, so you might actually have to get the publications to have a full sense. But one thing I just found out about today was there's a recent article in Nature about how you think about the role artificial intelligence has to play in online social context. So that might be a nice kind of quick primer. Anything else I should jump in with, Carolyn? Min, anything you want to add? All right, well, without further ado, we're really excited to have Carolyn here and talk about her work.